Good morning. If you are watching this live, and if you're watching it later on, hello. It's good that you're here. And I would say it's good to see you, but I can't see you, but you can see me, and that's good. You know, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning and welcome a new day. Sometimes I just want to pull the covers back over my head and drift back into sleep. And then if I do manage to get a few more winks, I still have to get out of bed. And although I don't feel like it, I get up and I welcome a new day and I get on with it. And you know what? After a while, I'm glad I got up. At first I'm not. But after I overcome my initial inertia and I get in a groove, I do what I need to do, and I'm glad I woke up to welcome a new day. So during this pandemic, many of us have been spending lots of time at home indoors, not getting out, mixing with a lot of people, doing what we used to do before. We've been on sort of what I might call a prolonged hibernation. And the time is soon coming, to rouse ourselves from slumbering patterns and awake to welcome what is new and fresh and restorative. You may have heard that our reopening has been delayed a little bit, but we're chomping at the bit to open as soon as we can, as soon as we feel good about providing a safe environment here. But it's good for you to be preparing yourselves, dust yourselves off, get ready to welcome a new day when we can be in each other's actual presence and say, welcome to one another. Welcome.
Our opening hymn today is For the Beauty of the Earth. It's number 21 in the Gray Hymnal.
I hear a bird a-chirping up in the sky. I'd like to be free like that, spread my wings so high. I see the river flowing, water running by. I'd like to be that river, see what I might find. I feel the wind a-blowing, slowly a changing tide. I'd like to be that wind, I'd swirl and shape the sky. I smell the flowers blooming, opening for spring. I'd like to be those flowers, open to everything. I feel the seasons change, the leaves, the snow and sun. I'd like to be those seasons, made up and undone. I taste the living earth, the seeds that grow within. I'd like to be that earth, a home where life begins. I see the moon horizon, reaching into night. I'd like to be that moon, a knowing, glowing light. I know the silence as the world begins to wake. I'd like to be that silence as the morning breaks. I hear a bird chirping up in the sky. I'd like to be free like that, spread my wings so high. I see the river flowing, water running by. I'd like to be that river, see what I might find. I feel the wind a-blowing, slowly a changing tide. I'd like to be that wind, I'd swirl and shape the sky. I smell the flowers blooming, opening for spring. I'd like to be those flowers, open to everything. I'd like to be those flowers, open to everything.
Blessed are the peacemakers, the lovers of diversity, the welcoming souls, the understanding hearts, the hand extenders, and those whose smile warm all hearts. Let's say our affirmation together. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world. It's our tradition at UUCS to light 3 chalices. The first is for our congregation, its members and friends. The second for our partner church in Simonfalva, Transylvania, Romania. And the third is for our children, who will become the keepers of the flame. We light these chalices for all souls, all people, everyone. We share its warmth and light with all those who are with us today and all those who are not, with all those who call this community home and all those who may someday walk through our doors. We light these chalices for those whom we love with all our hearts and those we struggle to understand, for all those who have been and all those who will be. We light these chalices. Please join me in singing the flame into life.
I invite you now to settle into the place where you are. Take a deep breath. Feel the slower, deeper, truer rhythms of your life so that we might be more aware of ourselves, more aware of those around us. Hard news comes to me regarding the well-being of some of our members. Some amongst us now feel great pain and sorrow and no hardship. Many carry heavy burdens and suffer privately. There is news of more police shootings, black people, spikes in COVID deaths in developing nations, more mass shootings, a homeless death nearby on Market Street. Life is hard for so many. Perhaps it is hard for you. And so we remember that we are called to love and support, show compassion for one another, to be people of compassion, for compassion is our way. Let us find ways to make our compassion manifest in our hurting world. May it be so. There I was on Friday delivering an invocation at the worship service held every April in the Capitol Mall. This year the service is taped. But in past years I've been able to mingle with the family members of those who have lost loved ones on the job to accidents. They tell me of the ones they have lost. This year, there were 53 who died on the job. And I am reminded again of the hard and the dirty and the dangerous, physically debilitating, low-paying jobs so many people have to do to earn enough to survive. They do these jobs for our benefit, so we can eat and be clothed, thrive, enjoy many things. And so we remember and acknowledge our dependence upon those who labor on our behalf. We remember not to take what they provide for granted. Let us show our gratitude by always being mindful of the well-being and the just treatment of these workers. Let us pay attention and be aware of the many gifts that flow daily into our lives. Then we shall know gratitude. Gratitude is our way. Amen.
We encourage you to let the congregation know what's going on in your life. You can go to our website, uusalem.org, and click on Joys and Concerns and leave your message there. You can also see there the messages left by others.
Spirit of Life. It's number 123 in the gray hymnal.
Let us make this earth a heaven, right here, right now. Who knows what existence death brings? Let us create heaven here on earth, where love and truth and justice reign. Let us welcome all at our pearly gates, our freedom table, amid singing and great rejoicing. Black, white, yellow, red, and all our lovely colors. Straight, gay, transgendered, bisexual, and all the ways of loving each other's bodies. Blind, deaf, mute, healthy, sick, variously abled. Young, old, fat, thin, gentle, cranky, joyous, and sorrowful. Let no one feel excluded. Let no one feel alone. May the rich let loose their wealth to rain down upon the poor. And may the poor share their riches with those too used to money. May we come to venerate the earth, our mother, and tend her with wisdom and compassion. May we make our earth an Eden, a paradise. May no one wish to leave her. May hate and warfare cease in clashes that are caused too old and too tired to name: religion, nationalism, the false god of gold, deep-rooted ethnic hatreds. May these all disperse and wane. May we see each other's own true selves. May we dwell together in peace and joy and understanding. Let's make a heaven here on earth before it's too late. Let's make this earth a heaven for each other's sake.
So you know that Johnny Cash song that goes, "I've been everywhere," where he sings out the names of all the places he's been, all the many places. It's a great, fun country rock classic. I've been everywhere. I bet you could do a good job with that song, Marcia. That would be fun. If I had Cash's gravelly bass voice and musical creativity, I could write a song. It would be called "I've Met Everyone." I've met everyone. I have. Since there are several billion people in the world and almost 400,000, about 375,000 babies being born every day, you might suspect that I'm exaggerating just a tad when I say I've met everybody. Well, maybe so, but Johnny Cash was exaggerating too. He hadn't been everywhere. Maybe I haven't met everyone, but I've lived and worked in many different places and had friendships with people from many countries and cultures and races. Then, too, in the ministry, you get to meet a lot of people within the congregation and around the community, in the prisons, the hospitals, interfaith settings. Yes, I have. I've met many people in my life. I'm not bragging. You've probably met, there are probably a number of you listening who've met more people than I have. But I've met a lot of people. I have. And even though I tend to be an introvert, I like to recharge my batteries in solitude, I have tended to enjoy work that enables me to meet and greet people. And I finally figured it out. I figured out what I was, and I figured it out, and I Googled it to see if the category existed, and it does. And you know what I am? I am and you might be too, I am a gregarious introvert. Sounds like a contradiction in terms. Look it up. It explains what being an introvert is in more depth. That's what I am. I am a gregarious introvert. We love people, we gregarious introverts, but we need our downtime too. There's strong evidence. If you read the scriptures, the New Testament, the Christian scripture, you'll see all these times, 30 or 40, where Jesus bolts to go off to be by himself. So I think he was a gregarious introvert, so I think I'm in good company. Given my gregarious nature, if I wasn't the minister here, if I was a member of the congregation and I was trying to figure out how I was going to volunteer, I would be one of the greeters or the hosts. We call them hosts, who stand in front and welcome people as they come into the worship service. That's what I would do. That would be my job. That's the one I would want. You might think I'm saying this because we're trying to recruit hosts and we're trying to beef up the ranks, but that's not it. That's not it. Consider ever so briefly my prior work history. My first two jobs were working at the counters in a fast food restaurant and a dry cleaner, later in a bookstore, all working directly with customers. I worked as a desk clerk at a hotel. I greeted clients at this great company I worked for when I was in theology school. And I waited tables at so many different restaurants that I probably waited on you at one time or another, that is, if you're old enough. And so I would like to thank you at this time for the nice tip you left me. Because, seriously, people were almost always generous and kind to me, overwhelmingly so, overwhelmingly so. It's true, there were a few exceptions, such as the following. When I was working at a small Italian restaurant, I did once accidentally serve beef ravioli instead of eggplant parmesan to a vegetarian. The cook smothered everything in cheese. You couldn't tell the difference between these dishes. The vegetarian, he took it well. After his first bite, he picked up the plate and he walked back to the kitchen and he hurled it against the wall. And he slammed the door so hard on the way out that he busted it off its hinges. So the point here is clear. Don't mess with vegetarians. No, that's not the point. My point is that the customers almost always treated me well, and the few exceptions, like the vegetarian and his flying beef ravioli act, only proves my point. If you treat people with decency and respect, they will almost always do likewise. And when they don't, well, then what? Then what? Well, then it helps to keep in mind the examples of those like the young 6-year-old girl, black girl, Ruby Bridges. You might have read about Ruby Bridges back in 1960. She was being threatened and taunted by people who were rabidly opposed to her being enrolled in a previously segregated school in Louisiana. I mean, you've seen pictures of what it was like for the young black kids going to school back in the 50s. I mean, just gauntlet of white people screaming and shouting racist epithets. I mean, just hate, hate, hate. And Cole asked Ruby how she felt about this, about these people threatening her very life. And you know what she said? You know what she said? She said she felt sorry for them. And Cole wasn't sure he heard right. He said, "What, you feel sorry for them?" And she said, "Well, don't you think they need feeling sorry for?" Well, Cole was really stunned by this response. He realized that even as this young girl was not going to acquiesce to these people who were tormenting her, neither was she hating them as they imagined that they hated her. And I say they imagined that they hated her because they, Ruby's tormentors' imaginations, we have imaginations, all of us, and their imaginations had been colonized by some dehumanizing racist narratives, and she felt compassion for those who were imprisoned by their false fears and their anger and their hatred. And she knew that they didn't hate her. Not really. They didn't even know her. They had not been born with this hate in their hearts. They had learned it, and she knew that, and she felt sorry for them. Oftentimes, the response to racism is to loathe and revile the sinner, the so-called racist. Yet labeling and demonizing people won't change their hearts and minds. It only hardens them. There are better and more effective ways that are congruent with our liberal theological heritage, which affirms the inherent goodness of human nature, as opposed to traditional theological assumptions that claim that humankind is inherently depraved, that we're all inclined towards selfish sin. That's who we are. Our tradition says, no, we're inherently good. Human nature is good. This is yet another reason why I have found a home in Unitarian Universalism. It doesn't require you to judge or try to improve upon other people. It calls for you to affirm them as individuals with an inherent worth and dignity. It's not our job to fix people. They're not broken. Spirits may be broken, but the person has a sacred worth. How do you like it when somebody's trying to fix you, or you feel like you're being judged or put under some microscope? No fun. Yet in our society, we are trained in so many different ways to look at others through judgmental lenses. How do they look? What body type do they have? What are they wearing? What do they think? Better check out the bumper stickers on their car. And how do they live? How do they vote? When somebody looks at you like that, you can feel it, and they can feel it when you look at them like that. You know, if you were judging, assessing, sizing people up, if that's what you're doing, you're not seeing them. You are not seeing them. You are, at best, seeing the outer trappings. There's a better way to see others. Consider Thomas Merton's experience back in 1958 in Louisville, Kentucky. Thomas Merton, he was a great soul. I love Thomas Merton. He was a Trappist monk who was more accustomed to solitary prayer off in the monastery than to bustling street life. But one day he was running errands in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was struck by a profound realization as he looked at the passers-by. And he writes in a book that he wrote called Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander, he wrote in that book, "At the corner of 4th and Walnut, I was suddenly overwhelmed by the realization that I loved all those people, that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness. The sense of liberation from an illusory difference was such a relief and such a joy that I almost laughed out loud. I, Thomas Merton wrote, I have immense joy in being a member of the human race. I now realize what we all are. And if everybody could only realize this, but it can't be explained. There's no way of telling people that they are walking around shining like the sun. On the corner of 4th and Walnut. If you ever get to Louisville, Kentucky, you ought to go there. On the corner of 4th and Walnut, there's a historical monument. It says Revelation, and it talks about Thomas Merton's experience. It's probably the only marker of a mystical experience that I know of in America, but it's there. It's a cool thing. But let's unpack what Merton said a little bit. He's claiming that he loves people that he hasn't even met. Let this serve as a warning to you. What happened to Merton can happen to you if you consort a bit too often with the spirit of agape love, like he obviously did. Agape love, unconditional love for others, boundless compassion, is not something you adopt as a nice idea. It's something you experience as a fundamental state of spiritual being. In truth, Merton, he was embodying. He did a lot of spiritual discipline off there in the monastery, cleared out all the stuff that was keeping him from being his true self, and he was embodying the spirit of agape love. And he saw to the heart of human nature. And since every one of us has this nature, he realized there are no strangers. And in this deeper sense, he realized that he had already met the spirit of life and love that is within each one of us. Merton's long been one of my spiritual heroes. He died during a pilgrimage in Asia the same year that I graduated from high school in 1968. Thomas Merton. Remember that name. Read something he's written. What a great soul he was. If he were here today, perhaps we could sing together how we've met everyone and the meetings have been great. Which is to say, I trust in your good, loving nature, even before we meet and say hello. In that sense, I feel like I've already met people when I meet them. I feel like I already know them, and I do. I do. I know human nature, and it's good, I've met people before I've even met them. It's how it feels to me. And being the gregarious introvert I am, I yearn to say hello, to welcome many new friends in my life in days to come. There's more to this than just chalking up lots of greetings and meetings with lots of folks so that you can feel like you're popular and well-connected. That's not the motivator. I think I take after my Uncle Parley. My Uncle Parley was a closet Universalist posing as a Southern Baptist down in Georgia when I was growing up. That is to say, his theology did not have anything about hell in it, and he did not go about using that kind of word. He just went about trying to uplift people by his presence, by his singing. And he would go out to the old folks' homes and the prisons, anywhere people got warehoused and neglected, and he would go and sing and entertain and uplift with the message of hope. He would go to greet and welcome people. And he told me once, I would ride around with him some when I was his magician's assistant. He had a magic act too. And he told me once that God has a plan for everyone. Using my own theological language, I might say that everyone deserves to feel love and support and compassion so that they might flourish and live out the true promise of their lives. And that is something that we can offer one another. Thomas Merton says we're all like shining suns walking around, and like the sun, which just came out, we are here to shine our light on one another in such ways that everyone can feel the warmth, the affirmation, the encouragement needed to grow, to thrive, to blossom into the fullness of being. Today there are so many too many who live in darkness, the darkness of loneliness and isolation, despair. So many, too many. There are so many places where the light of love hasn't shone for a long time. There are so many who do not feel a sense of belonging, who do not feel welcome at home on this earth, our common home. And my heart tells me that everyone belongs, and it tells me to greet and welcome and unconditionally affirm others. Would you join me in a quiet, brief meditation? I invite you now into that space where you reflect on your life in the presence of that which is holy. How are you living from day to day? What opportunities are there for you to help make heaven on earth? What opportunities are there for you to smile and hug? What opportunities are there for you to cross boundaries that separate people and affirm those who think and act differently than you? So many opportunities day by day, so many opportunities to help make this life, this earth, a heaven. Each one of us is given a span of years and a human body. What a gift. What an opportunity. May it not be squandered. Amen.
This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community. It is open to all who are in accordance with our principles. Our congregation is entirely self-governed and financially supported by the voluntary generosity of our members and friends. So let there be an offering to sustain the work of this beloved community. This month, we are sharing the plate with the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This fund allows Reverend Rick to assist members and friends of this congregation and members of the community at large who are in need of help and support. Your offerings will be greatly received. You can make your offerings by going to our website, uusalem.org, and clicking on the Donate button, or by sending them in through the U.S. mail.
One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race it's too soon to die. Some folks want to take me like an ostrich, bury their heads in the sand. Some hope all those plastic dreams can unclench all those greedy hands. Some hope to take the easy way. Poisons, bombs, they think we need 'em. Don't you know you can't kill all the unbelievers? There's no shortcut to freedom. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, show my rainbow race. It's too soon to die. Go tell all the little children, tell all the mothers and fathers too. Now's our last chance to learn to share what's been given to me and you. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race. It's too soon to die. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more?
Before we extinguish our chalice, Reverend Rick will kindle from them the flame of our social justice lantern. This lantern symbolizes the work of our congregation outside the walls of our sanctuary and the welcoming of all into our community. Each week we extinguish the flames of our chalices, but we never extinguish the flame of our welcome. Let every person, every race, ethnicity, creed, gender identity and expression, sex, political belief, class, age, and ability come together, not because we are the same, but because we are different. Let us build a beloved community where our light and our warmth shine, and everyone who enters is welcome.
As you see on your screen, there's a Zoom fellowship gatherings after our service. So even though we can't be in that room that I'm pointing at over there and drink coffee together, we can be together on a Zoom fellowship, and I hope that you'll consider joining us for that too. I'd like to take just a moment before I continue with the announcements to thank Marcia Christensen for your beautiful, lovely songs and your voice. Thank you for joining us this morning, Marcia. A lot of people are giving the happy hands gesture here, so thank you so much. If you see, we have some announcements there that tells you about what's going on. We're trying to get some good musicians, so you see there how you can get in touch with Dr. Kit. He's right over there next to me, and he would love to hear from you if you have some musical talent that you would like to share with the rest of us. Habitat in Hope Village is looking for a volunteer bookkeeper familiar with QuickBooks. If you're that Habitat in Hope Village is a group of our members who have formed an independent nonprofit to put up a homeless transitional housing unit across the street, just to explain what that is. So that's it, I think, for the announcements this week, and thank you.
Our closing hymn today is Blue Boat Home. It's number 1064 in the Teal hymnal.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been moving all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The
ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Please join your hearts with the entire community and join hands with those around you as we say our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.